One of the more controversial questions that new parents have to face is whether to co-sleep with your child. Of course, it helps to soothe a lot of new parents' worries about if your child is okay at night, but you'd also be hard-pressed to find many parents who say co-sleeping helps their sleep too, which is important. So if you're considering it, first consider what sleep expert Dr. Lynelle Schneeberg from Connecticut Children's Medical Center had to say.
Co-sleeping is such a personal choice, right? So what I always ask people about that is everyone sleeping well in your house, including you, if you're co-sleeping, right? And if you're not, then it's okay to take a look at that and decide, you know what, co-sleeping, maybe that's not for us.
And that's the biggest rub. It's hard to sleep well next to a small child because they just sleep differently.
Kids are incredibly restless sleepers. This is why we don't want to sleep with them. Most people, right? They kick you in the head and they flip upside down and they steal the covers and you end up with, with 1 foot of space. I saw a mom the other day who had a camera and she's like, my child moves every 10 minutes, and they do. And that's okay.
But the parental instinct to sleep with your baby can be strong, and baby might not be so keen on sleeping alone either. So is there a middle ground? Well, Dr. Schneeberg said there is an option you can try.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has very, firm opinion on this, and they are suggesting room sharing, right, rather than bed sharing for that whole first year. It could be to 6 months. Some pediatricians say around 6 months they want the child to go ahead and move to their own room. Some people say a year, but either way, they're still talking about room sharing rather than bed sharing.
In other words, put the bassinet in your bedroom so you can keep an eye on your little one without getting kicked in the head in the middle of the night. But if you're still going to go the co-sleeping route, the one universal no-no is to sleep with an infant after you've been drinking or doing drugs, because you're more likely to roll over on them without realizing it. So maybe room sharing or co-sleeping will work for you. Maybe it won't. I think in part, co-sleeping is a very controversial topic, in part because there are really wide cultural differences on the subject. Sleeping apart, I think, generally seems to be more of a Western thing, when in some other more Eastern countries it's done routinely.
But I think more and more people are doing it here. In the U.S. I hear a lot about it.
Yeah, I believe that's been the trend over the past 15 years.
10 and 15 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
With Sammy, she slept in our bed, but she was in sort of like a bed type of thing.
Okay.
To sort of like protect her around her.
Right. Okay.
So that was raised.
And yes, and I think sometimes part of the problem with co-sleeping is that we do tend to sleep with a lot of beds and sheets and covers, which is comfy for us, but not necessarily the safest thing for them.
And I was going to say that's dangerous for the kids.
Yeah, it can be. But all in all, I think, so long as you have an attentive parent, generally it's not that bad in terms of safety. And you mentioned it's getting more popular. I'm just trying to work off the top of my head. I believe I saw a study in an article I was reading about it that the prevalence has gone from about 7% to maybe 25% over the past 10, 15 years.
I mean, we're talking about a quarter now. A quarter of parents co-sleep with their kids. I mean, I was one of them for a little while, about 3 months. Yeah.
It was not going to work at my house. We were just taking turns 3 hours at a time.
Well, she slept the best there.
Yeah.
I don't know if she just knew, I was close.
But it's surprising.
I was a light sleeper.
It matters to the baby.
Yeah. And I was a light sleeper, so, if she started crying or anything like that, or if there was any issue, then
you're right there. Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear both of you tried it, and being that we have such weird schedules.
No, we never even tried it. It was not going to work.
I mean,
for
when
us.
she's like, I was on maternity leave, so
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just you do what's right. Obviously, what you think is best for your kids, but it's it is a growing thing. So I know a few people have done it, and they swear by it. So.
Yeah.
And now she sleeps perfectly fine in her crib in another room.
If it works for you, it works, and that's it.
That's
Doesn't need to work for everybody.